Right, okay, Druanna, I'm recording the audio on here. I don't know if Livestream records it automatically or what, I have no idea, but we'll have to figure that out sometime later. But at least I'm going to get the audio. So, what, what, what's the latest? What's been happening? Because you sounded really excited earlier on when you were talking on Facebook.
Well, I totally understand what you. Yeah, well, I was really excited because a lot of things are happening that since we last spoke, um, and it was actually pretty awesome. There was a lot of things that happened, but it's just I'm a little grumpy now because today I don't know what it is, but my back has just been killing me, and I don't know why. My husband and I we went out went out to Rosarito and had my mother-in-law watch the kids, and him and I actually got to go out in months, really go out. And I think I had a little too many sugar drinks, hard liquor, and maybe it affected my kidneys. So like my kidneys are hurting right now, and I am not a big drinker at all. Like we haven't drank in years, like really. Well, the last time we drank it was Cancun, and that was like months ago, and we swore we're never going to do it again. But we didn't even drink that much last time here, and I don't know what happened, but my back has just been killing me. And then yesterday, my eyeball was hurting, my left eye, because I'm going through that corneal erosion, and I decided I'm going through a major detox. So now that I'm going through a major detox, and then all of a sudden now my kidney thing is hurting. So I'm thinking, that's probably what it is. I'm going through a major detox here. This is not cool. But anyway, besides all that, let's get to the good part, okay? Um, this is what's happening. Last time we spoke, Chelley, we were hanging out in Second Life on the magic mushrooms, just chilling. And we're talking, and I was sharing with you the holosync, and I said, yeah, you need to listen to some of that holosync, get your meditation on. And I shared it with my friend Christy Schaefer. She's hooking up to that because I feel that there's just so much going on right now. There's a lot of racket going on in the external world, which also, reflects within the internal world. And the funny thing is, after, we spoke, I was talking to Christy, and she's really into, the whole, sovereign movement as well. And she's finding a lot of really interesting remedies. She was doing the EFT, just a bunch of stuff, and then telling me about the dinars, about the currency, because, the bank is about ready to go under here, because we know what's going on with the Cyprus, what happened with Cyprus and Greece. And she was like, you really should start putting money away into the dinars, because when the dollar goes down, then the dinars are going to be worth a lot of money, and you should start putting money away for that. And I guess they've been saving money for the past few years, and I'm like, wow, that sounds like a good idea. So I started kind of getting excited about it. And of course, when you're in meditation every day, what happens is your desires tend to come to you pretty quickly. Okay, so when you're in meditation every day, all of a sudden things start coming your way pretty darn quick, and you don't. Oh my God, that scared the crap out of me right now. Holy crap! There was a cat at the sliding glass door. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that, everybody out there. There was a cat out there just staring at me. I'm like, what the heck? Oh my gosh! And we have like a gated, house and everything. Oh my God, that freaked me out. Sorry. Okay, running along, moving along here. I guess even the animals are listening to what I have to say, huh? It's that important. It's an important event. Pretty soon a coyote's going to show up at my door. So let's get to it.
Transfer complete.
Okay, let's get to it here. So anyway, we're talking about, currency, and I'm talking to my husband about the dinar, and I'm getting kind of excited about it. I'm thinking, God, we really should start doing that. And I put it out there in the universe. So what happens is, we're emotions. Everything that we say, it's not even much of what we say, it's how we trigger with our feelings. Our feelings is what makes things happen. So my feeling towards the dinar was triggered with excitement, and that's all I can think about. And then I go into my meditation, and then the next couple days after that, I find something with Cliff High. I've been listening to him for some time, and lo and behold, he's talking about Bitcoins. And I'm like, whoa, what's that? And so I start looking into that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go about currency again. You know, we're talking about currency again, and about the Cyprus thing, and how a lot of people in Greece and Spain and all these other countries are actually using Bitcoins, and they're making really good money. Like, I mean, they're making a living off of it. Just like gold, you know, has some type of value and it moves up in value. Well, the same thing with Bitcoins, which is considered a digital currency. Moved up from $180 per Bitcoin. It just went up to $230 or $240 per Bitcoin. So the currency's going up, and then you get a lot of arguments, and I've heard a lot of arguments from other people saying, oh no, this is not the real thing, this is not the real currency, this is, you know, a joke, and da 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 da. But when you think about it, and I also put a video about it, you know, on the currency, I'm thinking, well, heck, what do you call Federal Reserve notes? They're IOU debt notes that was backed up by hard labor, because they're chattel notes. That's all they are. They're used for imprisonment, imprisoning us. Federal Reserve notes, you know, UK IOU notes, Euro IOU notes, whatever. They're all IOU notes and they're not backed up with anything. So, I mean, when we got taken over in the United States in 1933, it was a terrorist attack. Therefore, they took all of our gold and silver, and you know the whole story. 1933, you know, we had certificates that were, you know, connected to our golden coin or gold and silver in our banks. So our, you know, our certificates that we were carrying around with us were backed by all those precious metals. And then here they come and rape us, the Federal Reserve and whoever, and which is a total terrorist attack, and said, no, you're going to use these or else you're going to go to prison. I mean, like, who the hell are you? Who made you God to say that you could take my stuff from me? So that's what happened back then. Now, and here we are, folks, we're vibrating with this type of energy. And, you know, and I've gotten a lot of comments, especially when I've done my little vision boards and stuff, and then I have money on there. And I'm grateful for the comments. I mean, some of them that I didn't agree with, but now I do agree. Even more, like when you put money on there, what are you doing? You're putting Federal Reserve notes or debt notes. You know, why would we want to put money that we want more of that? No, we don't. If anything, you want more of gold and silver, right? Or Bitcoins now. Things that are actually, that have high value. And not only, and what makes it valuable is the fact that we're using it, that it's very flexible to use. You know, like, okay, the Federal Reserve note, sure. They're chattel notes, they're IOU notes and debt notes, and you're always going to be poor every time you use them. But the cool thing about the debt notes, they were very flexible. You weren't carrying a bunch of golds and silvers around, and they're so darn heavy to carry. So therefore, yeah, you could put it in your wallet. Well, Bitcoins are basically the same thing, except for they're like gold. They have some very high value. Why? Due to flexibility and the usability of it. You know, just like the iPhone and the Android, we're constantly using these, you know, the currency. We're constantly, I mean, using these devices, and it's becoming so easy to use, which is very, very, it's like as fast as your thoughts, okay? Just like the email and the internet. And each Bitcoin holds major value. So it's very interesting how we're moving away from that, and they're not being, you know, controlled by the central bank. They're not being controlled by any government or any bankers, and therefore you become your own banker. You have your own bank account, which is you, and you're able to transfer the money to your friend or whoever, and there's no fee. Or very extreme minimal fee, if even that. Maybe just to transfer, like to exchange your money from, let's say, euro to Bitcoin. But as far as, you know, transferring it over, I mean, you're not being hit with all these stupid charges that the banks like to use on you. Every time you use your card, your Visa, they want to charge money. Like today, I used my Mexican Visa card here in Mexico, and they wanted to charge 4% on my. I'm like, that's my own money. They want to charge you, always wanting to make money off you. So with the Bitcoins, I think this is going to be a huge revolution, and people from all over the world, they're already jumping in on it. I've also joined some type of group which is called RevShare. It's RevShare Bitcoin, and basically, you know, you just put one little donation. It could be $5, you know, it could be up to $50, whatever you want to put in there. And basically what happens is it's like a pool, and a tier pull, and they pull in all this money, and then we get a percentage of it like every month. So therefore you're saving on some type of Bitcoin, a percentage of it. So it's kind of like giving off a percentage of, let's say, gold, you know, and you know the precious metal is going to go up in value, just like the Bitcoin is going to be going up in value. So it's not like you're putting $1 or $2 or USD dollars or pounds in your bank account and then they don't accumulate in value at all. So this is actually a big major step, and it's just so funny. Again, after we spoke, Chelley, you know, we're talking about what to do, how to make the world a better place through meditation. You're telling me your situation, how you're thinking about going somewhere in Scotland to, you know, learn about some places and, you know, to free yourself from what you're going through right now. And in England, and me too, just the fact that we're relying, and we're not better than anybody here. We're not better. You know, we're relying on the government just like you're relying on the government. My husband's relying on, you know, going to school just to get paid Federal Reserve notes and getting paid his VA money. So it's like, but at the same time, we're sticking around here when we feel like, God, if we had a little more freedom, you know, we definitely wouldn't be living in Rosarito. We would be going somewhere entirely different where the food is a lot better. You know, there's not so much GMO. And that's kind of the battle that we face right now. It's just like, oh, we're just trying to make ends meet. And he's going to school and he's not even loving what he's doing. He's just like doing it. You know, electric engineering is what he's doing. So he's like, you know, I mean, he's trying to learn more about it. But it's the fact that we're imprisoned. We feel like we're imprisoned, like we have to rely on the government to give us money so we can live. And I think this is the time when moving away from it, like through the Bitcoins, is actually a very smart move, as well as putting money into gold and silver. Because just like what happened to Cyprus, I mean, there could be a time when they could just take all your money, and they got their money was stolen from them. The banks just said, hey, sorry, don't have no money for you. I mean, can you imagine one day you wake up and your money's gone? That's a lot of fear I'm getting. So I wanted to share that with you. But a lot of good information's come around thanks to Christy, you and I talking, and then all of a sudden we're manifesting some amazing things that are happening.
Right, well, I'm really glad that things seem to be working out for you, because, I mean, in this country, I don't know how far we're going to lag behind, but things seem to be a lot worse here. I mean, I'm hearing about people, you know, as you know, we've got the bedroom tax coming in. Everyone's up in arms over that, and also we've got something you might not be aware of, but some of the local churches have had their funding stripped from them, and this is having a huge knock-on effect to the social groups and the support centres. It looks like we're going really in the deep, well, without swearing, you know what I mean, we're really going into some serious problems, because we have a Scarborough Rydale Mind, which is a local support group for mentally ill people and for the disabled. They had their last group meeting last Friday, and my intuition told me my spiritual guidance told me to get down there, and I'm glad I did, because they are having a party, and it was a farewell party, and I said, why, what's going on? What's going on here, like, why are you having a farewell party? And they said, it's the last day we're able to be in the church to have the meeting where everyone can come and join in. I said, why, what's going on? They said the church has lost £8,000, is it £8,000 or something a year or something, annual funding. I said, why? What on earth's going on? And they said that basically there was no money, and so there's loads of people who need support who aren't going to be getting it now, and the only option left to them is basically to try and have small gatherings in cafes and things like that. Well, a local councillor of mine who's desperately trying to put the word out to get everyone to vote independent this year, he was out posting leaflets. It's the first time he's done it. Now, he was the mayor of my town for quite a while, and he got his finger, a great big chunk of his finger bitten off when he was posting the leaflets through the letterbox. A dog went and bit him, like, and he's learned his lesson from that. But you know, it's really terrible. I mean, he's desperately trying to get people motivated to actually go and vote this year, because a lot of people don't even vote, you know. And I don't know where we're going to be this time next year. Next year I've no idea where we're heading. But everything at the moment seems to be bad. You know, I don't know if my stream stopped because there's something wrong. The clock stopped ticking. I don't know why. Are we still streaming?
I would think so. I mean, I'm seeing it looks like it's streaming to me. Yeah, it keeps saying 1:10. Yeah.
How many minutes does it say there? Because I've got 30 minutes 35 and the clock stopped. Let me just go and check this, because I don't want to be talking. We don't want to be talking to ourselves. I don't know what's going on. Oh. Ah.
What'd you find?
Well, I don't know what's going on here. Well, it says 5 watching now, but let me just turn the volume up. It looks like it automatically recorded it at 30 minutes.
Okay, so what I'm getting here, I mean, it looks like everything's moving perfectly. 1:59, 2 o'clock, 2:01, 2:02.
Well, the recording appears to have stopped, and it's the good thing I put the clock on there. It says 4:45, and it's actually 4:45. That's weird. It says 4:45, but it's actually 7 minutes past here, so I don't know what's going on. There's something not right here.
Well, the clock's moving. I'm seeing the little hand moving around, so.
What time does the clock say?
Like 4 something.
Oh, 4:45
or something.
Oh, it must be going then. I don't know what's happened here. I'm looking at. It looks like I'm looking at something from 20 minutes ago. Don't know what's going on. Let me just try refreshing it. It's weird. I don't know if I don't think I'm live. Hang on a minute. Let me just try starting it again or something. Right, I just started it again because right, it's going again. It should refresh in a minute because it appears to have stopped at this end. I think for some reason, maybe it's because I'm a free member, and it appears that free members maybe only are limited to 30-minute sessions or something. Right, anyway, let's carry on. Let's carry on.
Okay, so basically, you know, we're talking about the Bitcoins and all that. And, you know, I think that's very, very exciting. And it was just amazing, like just you and I talking and talking to my friend Christy, who's doing the EFT and all that stuff. And, you know, she's finding out about some really interesting information as far as how you go to the banks and you ask for like an off booking account information with I think the FAS. Shoot, I don't really know too much, but it's basically like you're asking for a certified audit of the account, because what you're doing, you know that they're fake, you know, they're fraud. Everybody's operating in fraud. The whole Federal Reserve is a fraud, and the whole thing's a fraud. Okay, so we know it's a fraud. Okay, good. That's the number one thing. It's like kind of being an alcoholic. You know, you're identifying that you're an alcoholic. Okay, cool. You're not in denial. So it's the same thing with us. Cool. We're not in denial. We know that we are being operated by a fraudulent government. Okay, so that's the number one thing. But to keep on at them constantly, oh, please, discharge my debt, discharge my this, my that. And it's not even your stuff in the first place, but they make you believe that because we've been so freaking programmed to believe that is our debt. And of course, at the same time, if you do not pay them, then what do? They go after you. They go after your house. They go after all the things that you thought was yours, like your car. All these things you thought that they belonged to you. Well, they never did belong to you. So they go after it. They go after your kids, okay? So of course, you're trying to discharge your debt or whatever you think is yours. And so let's get to the point here. It's the bankers. They have all this control over the people. So now, the good news is we're now finding out some stuff, looking at Cyprus, looking at Greece, looking at all these other countries, especially Cyprus, that, I mean, when they found out that their money was stolen by the bankers, looted, but of course they're trying to be nice and say, well, maybe they weren't doing something right, and maybe, they weren't running something properly. You know what? Hey, they sold your money, dude, okay? Came in and took your money. One day you had a lot of money in the bank and you thought it was your money, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's gone. And I feel that that's what's going to happen coming over to the United States and then eventually here in Mexico. It's happening in Europe. It's going to happen. It's bound to happen. So what's going on? The good news is people are jumping on it. People have known about this for some time. They have invested money in gold and silver, which is the precious metal that is backed up with something, of course, of value. And something else that they're putting their money into, and it is the Bitcoin, which I'm finding out is to be absolutely phenomenal. The Bitcoin is making the wave it is the wave of the future. And, Bitcoin last November was at what? One Bitcoin was like at 40 something dollars. Now Bitcoin, yesterday, Bitcoin was at $180 per Bitcoin, and now today it went up to $240 per Bitcoin. Why is that? Why? Because again, it's whatever we give value. It's value. Gold is, we give value to it. Bitcoins, we get value to it because it's so user-friendly. It's so flexible. And it goes along with the sign of the times. Look at the email. Look at sending emails to one another, internet. And so with Bitcoins, you are going to have that same flexibility. And again, it moves up in value. And unlike the US dollar, unlike the euro, unlike the pound, all of those things are ball and chain over us to believe that we need those things to survive, and we don't. And same with us. And like I was saying earlier, Chelley, you're relying on the government to feed you. We're relying on the government to feed us. My husband's was in the military. He's going to school full time so that way he can get paid doing something he's not really interested in doing. We're trying to live. We're trying to survive right now. Same thing. All of us are pretty much on the same boat. Any one of us who are relying on Federal Reserve notes and paper money and fake money, that we are in the same boat. It doesn't matter if you think you're a successful businessman or an entrepreneur. What are you dealing with? What are you using? You're using fake notes. And it was such a wake-up call, after my meditation for the past week and talking to Christy, who's been, really into the whole EFT movement. Now she's getting into more stuff, a lot of interesting remedies with peacefulremedy.org. I think that's what they're called. But they're awesome people, and they're doing a lot of good things. And she did tell me, she said, you need to start putting your money away in the dinars, because the USD is going to crash. That money's going to crash in the banks, and we all know that this is going to happen. So, if you start putting money in dinars, it's going to go up. I mean, the USD, when it goes down, boom, it's going to go up. Automatically, you become rich overnight. But something else is coming in the way, and this is Bitcoins. This is something even more exciting for everybody, because, again, it has value. I mean, you could put value on a stone. You could put value on a glass of water. You know, as long as you're constantly, you have to use it all the time, and it's right there for you to use. And, you know, and here we are thinking, oh, our bank, you know, all of our money in our bank, it's all backed up by insurance, FDIC. And then it's funny because Christy's telling me, well, just the fact that it's backed up by FDIC, if you really read the fine, they're allowed to take your money from you. They're allowed to raid it, which we're finding out with child support and all this other court issue. They feel that they can garnish your wages and all that. See, this is all rules for control. But the Bitcoin, the cool thing about that, there's no control by these third parties or central bank and all these people and the government. They have no control over it. So therefore, you know, there's no major fee to transfer the money from one person to the next, to a family member, to a loved one, whatever you need to do, even business. You don't need a bank. You become the bank yourself. And I feel that this is a stepping stone. I don't feel that this is going to be the whole picture, but it is a huge picture, because what's going on? What are we relying on? We're relying on money, or so-called money, with no value. And, you know, just like many, many years ago, when we all used to have gold and silver at one time, we had value. We knew that when we had the gold and silver in a bank or somewhere in a safe, we knew that it was going to accumulate in value with every year that goes by. With a dollar, it doesn't go by. I mean, every year that goes by, I mean, you're constantly in debt, man. You're always going to be in debt. So therefore, okay, you have $100,000. Good for you. But you know what? That just goes to show that you're $100,000 in debt, because you just accumulate, you have $100,000 IOU notes. That's all it is. It's nothing. So going back to the Bitcoin thing, I'm very excited about it, and I opened up my own account, so I'm happy. And I'm going to be doing whatever, all my services that I do, from psychic readings, Oramus, whatever, is going to be through Bitcoins only. And, you know, I've had some people ask me, well, you know, do you take PayPal anymore? I don't want to take it anymore. Why? Because I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the government. I'm sick of the fact that they're stealing from us and wanting to make money off of every little thing that we do when they don't deserve a freaking penny. And I just basically, you know, put it out there. I finally said, you know what, enough's enough. I'm done. I'm totally done with this. And
can I just ask a question? I was just wondering. I mean, you've explained a lot about Bitcoin, but I'm still a little bit puzzled. Is it just me? Who has actually created this Bitcoin? Where does it actually come from? I mean, is it part of the free man on the land thing? What is it?
Supposedly, it was actually created by a guy in Japan named Satoshi, or a group. And they're basically, you know, people that are really, they're geniuses when it comes to creating, you know, anything to do with software. So what happened was, when the 2008 thing hit, where basically the money was gone again, this is what happened. That's when they decided to create it. And what it is digital currency. Okay, digital currency, and they all have specific codes, some type of coding. I can't really explain too much, but if you want to learn more about it, I mean, I can definitely put a link in. But basically, it's very, from what I'm hearing from other people, and a lot of these finance people, they're saying that it's definitely like the wave of the future, that this is the new thing, just like email and ebooks are the new thing, and the internet. So with this, basically, like, it takes some time to decode. They have these little decoders. Everyone's got a decoder. And in order to do a specific transaction or whatever, it goes through all these little codes. I mean, I wish I can explain better. I'm kind of not a geek in those terms to actually explain. But that is basically what is being used right now. And in Greece, when they were going down, when they were getting, you know, their money taken or stolen from them, some people were actually able to manage to save their money by transferring it into Bitcoin. And again, it's a digital virtual currency. So I can actually read about it. Let me go ahead and find it real quick. And that way I can just read to everybody what Bitcoin is. So I'm going to go run along real quick and just read to you the Wikipedia of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is an electronic currency decentralized, conceived in 2009 by Satoshi Nakamoto. The name also applies to the protocol designed by the name author and network P2P behind it. Unlike most currencies, Bitcoin is not dependent on any central issuer confidence, but uses a working test system to prevent double spending and reach consensus among all nodes. Bitcoin is a relatively new project that is in progress. Since the 1970s, the use of digital signatures based on public key cryptography has provided strong property control. Based on public key cryptography in '98, We Day Money describes a decentralized solution to electronic payment problem. Later, Nick Szabo and Hal Finney extend and complement the work of Wei Day. In 2008, Satoshi Nakamoto publishes an article in the list of cryptography protocol describes minutes-2-1 where Bitcoin. On January 3rd, 2009, the Bitcoin network is operational with the publication of the first client open source and the creation of the first Bitcoins. Until the invention of Bitcoin was required that all e-commerce payments were channeled through centralized trusted entities, typically banks and other financial firms and parasites, I like to say, which manage the tracking of all transactions. With this Bitcoin, you don't have to do that, which is cool. So basically, he says, at a conference of cryptographers were noted, let's see, I'm trying to figure this out though. I mean, you could pretty much find out all this information. There's one, it's called weusecoins.com. That's another great, oh, sorry about that. Yeah, so weusecoins.com, I think that's a place that you can go. And that is, they can really give you a background on what the Bitcoin is. And, you know, there's people from all over, you know, talking about it, like the good thing about it, the bad part about it, you know, or what they think. But what I feel that, I mean, for it to come into my life this quick, like after meditation, talking to my girlfriend, you know, about dinars and where to put our money, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, I like listening to him lately, and then boom, he's talking about Bitcoins, and I'm like, okay, we're just talking about currency and where to put our money, and I'm thinking everything's just happening so fast. Obviously, it's telling me to do something, you know, do something. So I went ahead and I opened up an account, and I'm pretty happy about that. So I went forward to do it, and I'm going to be only, you know, again, I'm only going to be using Bitcoins for my services now because, again, I want to show that I'm, you know, I'm proactive at this because I'm sick and tired of using debt notes. So there you go. That's what it's all about, Bitcoins. Oh, that's pretty much all I had to say, but so yeah, I'm using the Bitcoin instead, and I'm trying to anyway, but it's I guess you know, it's pretty helpful.
Right, yeah. Well, that
okay?
sounds that sounds really interesting about the Bitcoin. I don't know why I'm getting feedback because I thought I'd sorted that out, but yeah, that sounds extremely interesting. It's the first time I heard about Bitcoin was earlier today when you posted that video about Cyprus, and that guy was talking about it, and I must be way out of date or something. I don't know, because I don't have a television. And not watched television for 10 years. It's the first time I've heard that mentioned actually, and so I'm completely new to what this is, and I don't know if I'm the only one in that boat, but I'm sure other people are like me who don't watch television. So I don't know if is it been something mentioned on the television, or is it just something that's been introduced on the alternative news media?
Yeah, I don't watch television either. I haven't had television in over a couple years, so we don't watch it. It's just a post that I saw. I don't know where I saw it. I think it was on YouTube. I was looking at Bitcoin and something popped up with that, and I thought, whoa, I got to check it out. I think it was a Bitcoin magazine, but yeah, they were talking. You know, the Cyprus, you know, was talking about just what happened, how they got all their money stolen, and how a couple wanted to move back to the UK and buy a house there. And all their money's gone. I mean, can you imagine? If it's happening there, it's going to happen here. It's going to happen all over the place. So that's why I say jump on it. Jump on something that's going to be more fluid, more flexible and has a lot more value because it's going to be in a lot of use. That's what I say when I say more in value, you're going to be using it a lot. That's what makes it valuable, and it's us that gives it value.
So basically, how do you get started with the Bitcoin? Do you actually transfer your existing money into it, and it sort of transfer? Can you use Bitcoin in the high street, for example? Or I mean, here in the UK, is it possible to use it here, do you think?
They're using it like crazy over there. Yeah.
Really? I didn't know. I will have to go and research that. I'll definitely have to find out about that because I don't know where else we're going to end up if we don't find some alternative, because these banks are really ripping everybody off now. Is it safe for me to read that private message while I'm sharing my screen? Is it a link?
Yeah, that's a link. Go ahead and share it. I mean, it's blockchain.info/wallet. That is where you would open up your Bitcoin account, and then you can automatically, once you get connected, you can transfer your money into the Bitcoin account. And the cool thing is, I'm waiting for my little link to pop up. It's a referral because I joined a RevShare Bitcoin tier pool. And basically every month we get paid every month Bitcoin. So even if you get a little tiny percentage, like 7%, it's 7% and up a month, even if you get like a little percentage of it, it doesn't matter, because the fact that Bitcoin goes up, it's like saying you get a little percentage of gold. It's that amazing. So it's constantly moving up in value.
Oh wow! Well, I'm going to have to check that out then, definitely.
And let me know when you want to get a coffee break, because I want to make some coffee. Herb coffee is what it is. But yeah, that's exciting.
Well, I tell you what. Okay, that sounds like a great idea actually, because there are some bugs, some problems I'm having at this end with the stream. So let's have a coffee break. Let me just post something appropriate on so people know we're having a break. Let's go and have a coffee break. So you go and get a coffee, Druanna, and I'll do the same.
Awesome. I'm on my way.